Where you want to start?
Well, there was a shift in that second quarter of momentum. It felt like for going in Atlanta's direction.
Sure did.
What can you say about that moment for your team and how you guys responded down the stretch?
Yeah, that was key, right? When the lights went out, clearly something happened. We got zapped with something, or they got zapped with something when the lights went out, and everything changed. But we had to demonstrate a level of toughness. I think we were down 7, if I'm not mistaken, under 5 in 4 minutes, maybe a little less than 4. We just knew we had to get some stops. We knew we had to complete plays with rebounds, defend without fouling, which we had a hard time with. But when we got that done and we were playing with flow a little bit, I felt like we had that. We got another bounce, and then when we went to overtime, I felt really good about where the team was.
And just a quick follow-up, we talked about your offense before the game. How do you compare your offense from this performance to that last performance?
Both teams were infinitely better. Obviously, Napheesa Collier being back in the fold was helpful, but there were a lot of things that we did in the Washington game that we focused on yesterday in practice, and I thought there was really good carryover to the game. We tried to avoid some of the spaces that we started to be a little more self-aware. We weren't perfect by any stretch, but defensively they're very good. Defensively we're very good. Everything was hard. Anytime somebody scored, it was hard. Just a great basketball game.
Cheryl, how would you compare your team this year to last year?
It's kind of early. I think the thing that has stayed the same is just this level of resilience. At the first 5, they have a really good connection, but as a team, we have a way about us that there's just a ton of respect for each other and for their games, and they celebrate each other's successes. It's genuine, so that's the same. Basketball wise, I think we're experienced. Is that maybe we're a little more experienced? I think last year we were kind
Are
of.
you deeper, you think?
I feel like at times we are. Yeah, I like our post again, having everybody here. Again, when you bring Shepard off the bench, that's a big time plus. I think maybe in the post a little bit. I think T's had a really good year. Tonight wasn't her best game, but Karlie, that's why we brought her here. Was to find those couple threes. So I was really happy for her that she got that. Are we deeper? Maybe a little bit. And there's some players that didn't play that we think a lot of too. So.
One other thing is, how would you compare the league this year to last year?
Very different. How many new coaches? Let me say 7. 7 out of 13. Players change teams. Each gym we come into, we're like, well, that's weird seeing so-and-so, in that uniform, or just brand new scouts all over the place. So the league is very different than last year. Very, very different.
Would you say it's more parity or?
I think we've had parity for a while. So I don't necessarily know that that's the case. We just have expanded one team. We have had parity for a few years because there hasn't been expansion, and each team I think has a level of talent that any team could win at any night. We have an expansion team that's in the middle of the pack.
Amazing.
So, I think stylistically we're changing too. You have a team like Atlanta. We certainly weren't trying to give up 52 points in the paint. Some of that, was fast break off of bad offense or second chance points, but it took us a while to kind of figure out what we were doing. We were sure we were not going to give up threes or easy ones for sure to their 3-point shooters. We were sure that we wanted to take, this might be our season high in 3-point attempts, if I'm not mistaken, 34. If you'd have covered up for me and you just would have showed me 3-point line, I would have said this is Atlanta at 34 and this is Minnesota at 22. So I was very pleased with the ways that we really were attentive, and we still got to figure some things out, and I'm sure they feel the same.
We got Terry on Zoom.
Hey, Terry. I think, are you muted?
Congrats on the win.
Thanks.
For K-Max, 12 of her 18 in the fourth quarter in overtime. She entered the game tonight tied for third all-time in free throw percentage. So I imagine her 6 for 6 gives her a tick to have that spot for herself. But those, just when you have a player like K-Max who you've coached for a long time in the line in that moment, just, how does it feel to be that confident in a player shooting those free throws when it matters most?
Obviously, it feels great. We're talking about Mac, but I feel, Mac and Fee are our closers. So once we got to that space, you could see a level of confidence that we knew exactly what we were doing, what was going to happen next. And stepping to the line and making free throws is not easy. It's not easy, but certainly Mac makes it look easy. Mac scored her 5,000th career point tonight as well. So congrats to her.
We'll go to Michael on Zoom.
Yeah, thank you. Coach Reeve, I was wondering if you could just talk about Fee's ability not just to score tonight, but her assists, her rebounds, to play 40 minutes, and especially against a team that really is very tough in the paint. I know we're used to seeing this kind of great play from her, but for somebody to come back after sitting out a couple games, how much does that impress you?
Either way it would impress me. Like you said, it's not necessarily an easy game to come back into, with the bigs that they have and the style of play of someone like Bree Jones. But I was impressed overall with our bigs. We didn't play perfectly. We learned along the way in the game. Fee, I thought Fee was one probably at the top, where she learned as we went, and Fee has always been the player that fills up a box score, and she was obviously special for us.
The fact that I know it's sort of an uncharacteristic game for Courtney, the last game with the 10 turnovers, and tonight she doesn't have any. Just the way she responded after, I'm sure she was pretty disappointed after the game against Washington.
Yeah, but she's the first one. She's the first one to say bounce back. She is not a wallower. She is supremely confident. That felt bad. That last game felt bad, and so there was probably a bit of a gut punch, and I probably didn't handle things the best either with her. But Courtney and I have great conversations after times like that, and I always know that Courtney's going to bounce back, and she wants to make sure that we make sure we read that stat really loud. 8 assists and no turnovers. But I told her we're still in the hole over the last 2 games. We're still -2.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Would you say the people who follow this regularly, I'm a prep guy mostly.
Yeah.
I'm visiting you, so to speak. And would you say this type of team with the size is more of a difficult matchup than some of the other teams that maybe don't have quite a Bryan or a Jones?
I wouldn't say that it's easier, for sure, or harder.
Okay.
It's just 2 different styles. There's another style of maybe a little more like us, where we're not as big and we don't rebound as much, but we can really space you and play with some agility. There's 2 different ways. I don't think one is better or harder than the other. They're just different stylistically.
Thank you, Coach.
Thank you.
Thank you, Coach.
Yep, good to see you guys. Bob, great to see you.
I'll
Safe
send you
travels.
that.